Hello guys, it's Mark from the RCalsace 68 in France for the English version of my opinion at the HOBAO Hyper VTe-2. So, first out of the box, I'm clearly happy to see one morning in my mailbox that HOBAO were gonna do that. And why I'm happy? Not because I have done it myself a year before. I never want to say it's because of me they do that. We was many people who want this, and I'm gonna explain you why. First of all, you have the Traxxas X01. This car has a real ground effect. The only who has a real ground effect, really efficient. Has a really good electronic in there, a weak servo. When I mean good electronic, I mean motor near C, bad servo, Traxxas slash differential, and bearings. So tiny stuff, and such a fast car, that's a bad idea. He costs a lot. He's lightweight, performance are there, and with a few adjustments, I had to say, because I tried it, it's even a great GT on track. Problem is one size tires, and the tires are not really good. They are not bad, but not really good, and you find only one set of tires, and they are coast full. So Arma does the same failure. They do a stronger car based on a 1.8, not on a 1.10 skill shortcuts. So that's better, but they go too far. Too big chassis with too bad alloy, too heavy steel because it's weak steel and cheap steel, so the car is really heavy. In the Armas you have not so good electronic. The best way would be to have the X01 with the Arma electronics and the Arma with the Castle electronics in there, because the Arma is too heavy. Clearly you have performance, you bring the car to 90 km an hour out of the box, but not without cooking out lipos and the motor. If you drive really hard, 8 to 10 minutes, it's the time you have before the lipos have 60 degrees and the motor 105, and you are at the cutoff. Out from the box, that's not something I like. You have a lot on the car, a big lipo tray, front big fender, rear big outtake, and all the too much stuff on it to be real, to have a real performance. And the boring stuff also is that the Arma differential are good, but do need any 10 or 20 times you run, open it, change the oil, reshine the old stuff. That's for me boring. Boring because I know other stuffs. Then open any 10-20 times my differential and clean it up, change oil, and chime and chime and chime. So as I see HOBAO tell us they gonna do that, I was over happy. I think they gonna take the VT and make a longer wheelbase, something like I do, just maybe with our weight distribution, because I put all weight in the front. Most people prefer to have the weight more in the middle, because it's also something I not like at the Armas, the weight behind from the battery. Many people think more you have weight at the axle, the more you have grip. That's wrong, and especially in turning, because the all weight push the car in the turns, and once you decide to sleep, you have to fight to keep in line. So the Armas are fun to drive, but always be drifting. And even if you change some setups and oil, and you can make the Armas run fine, but way far from what is a GT 1.8 scale on-road usually. If you take any 1.8 scale GT, HOBAO, Mugen, X-Ray, S-Works, if you never have drive one of these before, say your Arma is a good on-road car, take one of that. Put just some standard 1.8 scale touring tires, GRP, SP, PMT, or Sysmix, and you will see, man, that thing is glued on the road. That's we in Europe used to say that these armors are sleepy cars and not onward cars. So HOBAO decided to use the VTe-2 platform. So we have the 7075 T6 counter-strong alloy, all the balls in alloy also, so we have less weights there. We have standard shock tower 6061 front and rear, and also the chassis. But the chassis, because it's made from good alloy, from good quality alloy, is not so thick than the armors, and the whole car weighs only 2.5 kilograms without the electronics. So I will be able in 6S to make this car about 4.8 kilograms. A stock on-road GT is about 384 kilograms. GT with long wheelbase like the Serpent here or the HOBAO GTBs 4 to 4.3 in 6S. So if I really can do it with 4.8 kilograms, it would be way enough with 6S. It's still 1 kilogram less than the armors. If I go 8S and still keep a smaller size motor, like I do here in the Serpent, maybe I'm just gonna go to the 5.2, 5.3 mark. So I would have way too much power for the weight, but it's enough. But HOBAO not just stops there. That's why I don't show you yet now the chassis. I'm gonna do it after. I just want to explain you that all. So they go not for standard setup, but they go for something crazy. They overthink the stuff so you can use it in any case. That means I want to drive on road. I gotta put a stock motor in, or maybe 82mm motor like the SSS 6-pole motor here. No problem, fits perfectly in. A lightweight 6S ESC like Hobby Max is. Maybe after this run, when I have tried it, I'm gonna catch the Castle 5020 1650 kV with the turbo timing, so I will have more power on the straight line and still be down in the amps at the smaller, the slower parts from the run. You can put, if this is not enough with a 92 motor, because you can go to 92 in this position. You will see here that they have put 2 holes for the gear and many other holes for the motor mount. So you can put the motor mount in 1, 2, 3, 4 different positions. That brings you to be able to put a 120mm long TP power motor in there if you want to still be in the 40 can motor diameter. You can switch the motor to the other side if you want to put the way more in the rear of the car, so you can put the motor on the right side and ESC here, so you're gonna put more right back there. Even if this is a stock standard ESC and motor, you will bring about 400 grams more in the rear. That's way enough. You can use shorty battery to put weight front or more in the rear. And the LiPo tray, even if they look heavy, only weighs 170 grams, both of them. And you have really plenty of room to put 2S, 3S, 4S, 6S in there. You'll be able to drive this car in 12S. And they also think on that, because you can get an optional motor mount for put a 1/5 scale motor in there. I'm gonna put you one out of the box here. So HOBAO at this point go crazy, because you can't put that motor in this baby. This motor is able to push a 12 kilograms 12S car at 120 with a good run time. Imagine if you put that in there. Stock motor is about 400 gram. This size, this is 1 kilogram, so you have 600 gram more ESC. Okay, you go for 200 gram more ESC, 600 gram motor more than 800 gram, and you're gonna put 2 6S LiPo, means 800 grams more for the second LiPo. You are still not going to overload the car more than 7.2 kilograms with the same power as a 12 kilo motor car. So that's crazy. And I'll say they do the stuff so it's gonna work that way. If you put the motor here, ESC here, you can put the receiver box here. You have already the 2 holes in the chassis. All you need are 2 optional little braces, but you can do it yourself. It's not big stuff, just need a tube, cut the tube at the right size and put the screws underneath in the receiver box if you want to have the other weight distribution. I love to have front weight, so I'm gonna put the motor here, and if it's too much in the front, I'm gonna put the motor on this side, ESC here, and receiver box here to be really middle balanced, but I really think gonna let it in the front. They suppress the center diff. You have no more center diff, just here a center rigid axle with a stock M1 8mm bore motor pinion. You can buy your many as you want. 8mm bore mod 1. You can go from 50 to 94 to 49. I have a 49 such pinion in my Arma BMW there. Still waits on a speedrun. You can change also, if you buy a bundle from them, here the main gear, easy. For the motor you can have in 5mm bore, it's stock, so it's not an issue. And if you put a motor with an 8mm can, like the TP Power or a 1/5 scale motor, if you take a few, or just I would say a bundle from them, you have all you need to have the right setup you want. So you can go crazy for crazy speed, you can go like I for so light as possible to make a nice on-road car. Because that's also the other big point between Arma and the others, is that Arma has nothing to set up at suspension. You can change the oil, you can change the springs, but after from the box there are the wrong springs, the wrong oils, and the car is way too down on the ground. You just have to let go of the gas to hit the bottom of the street, the bottom of the front here. It's something I not like. These cars are made for bashing, on-road bashing, and we drive at mall parkings, and this is nothing straight. And have such a low car is a problem, because you always hit the bottom, and HOBAO think it's different. Out from the box you have here 2.5 centimeter ground clearance. No panic. For those who want to run low, you just have to change the angle from the suspension and tighten the grub screw for go as low as you want. But I would say I drive at small parkings are really not straight, and I hate to scratch underneath my cars. So when all the weight gonna be in, I maybe gonna set up to a ride height from 2 centimeter, not less. Stock 30V oil front and rear. In the front I adjust a little bit the spring load, because when all the weight is in, I want to do, as I have the motor and the ESC in, it's maybe a little bit soft, but we want to try it. In the rear I let the spring go free because it's going to be too hard, and if it's too hard you're going to lose the rear at every little bump. So it's really important to have a soft rear when you drive front weight. When you put, if you put the weight a little bit more in the rear, you can let this, but because I'm gonna put all the weight front, I maybe gonna change to 200 CST. At my HOBAO VTe-2 I go to 150 CST in the rear, but there has really all weight front, and here you have the battery a little bit more rare, so I have to try. We're gonna try it stock, even the differential oils. After the run, if it's like the VTe-2, I'm gonna go to 150 CST in the front and 150,000 CST in front and 150 CST only in the rear shocks. Because it's the VT, you still can put here some carbon braces in there. If you drive with the weight more rear, I suggest you to do it. If you drive the front weight, you can let this like it is. It's not a problem. So I'm really happy to get this here to replace the Armour 1.7. It's nothing against the Armour freak. Don't be bad. Just try it and you will understand what I mean. And a super good move from HOBAO to do that thing. So no need to put some bearing at somewhere or a between part. Oh, I forget the, yes, some of you want to say, hey, you forget the ZD Racing 1.7 scale race car. ZD Racing 1.7 scale is for me not a race car, it's a toy. It's not bad, but it's not okay. You have two weak materials on there, weak bearings. The alloy are so bad made that the bearings even moves in the hubs. That's bad. You have bad tires, and the suspension setup is far away from good. And if you take the RTR, the electronic is also bad. It's okay for a Sunday driver, but not for someone who's gonna go on a track. Especially because the price is at the same point that the HOBAO and the Armours. XR1 here in Europe is about 950 euros RTR. The Armour series 650 to 700 euros, and this baby finished. If you put a standard 6S electronic in there, servo and radio system, you have to not forget a body in this size costs about 100 euro. That means you also at the 650-700 euro mark. But with the big difference, you have the right tires with grip, because the Armour tires are bad. All three, you have three type of Armour tires in softness. They are not good. They not last long, and they cost twice what standard GT tire costs. So you have here the best tires, and you can have a real complete suspension setup possibility with the angle from the suspension, with different springs, with the oil, and you can even change. That's what's maybe the worst part on the Armours. You can not change any angles of your tire setup, the toy, all what you need to have a real GT. The most important thing on the Armour is that they use the off-road setup, so you have way too more pivot angle. And here you have a straight chassis, so that means the front axle is flat, and you can even change this anyway, more or less. So this car is a real racer you can use for crazy speed runs. the armor series is just a between of all. I still hope that Chimesso, Losi and other brands gonna come to the side from 1/8 scale GT. In Europe we have here S-Works, X-Ray, Mugen and HOBAO, and did I forget a brand? Then we have all Italian brand. We have BMT, which is the car I showed you before with the cool paint job. No, I don't show it. It's the German version. Sorry. This is a BMT GT. They also rebrand the new HOBAO with some modification. Hongnor also do GT. And the Hongnor brand is rebranded by EGT and one or two different brands. We also have another European brand who make the whole car with alloy parts, but at one point it's too much because just of the weight and the total price from the stuff. I drive for my pleasure, so I don't want too top-notch, but I really was not happy with the way the Arma did the stuff. Too heavy, not a good traction, bad tires, and the tires cost too much for what you can do with it. Sorry, that's bad. You can change all that, but if you take the Arma and change all, then someone gonna tell me, yeah, you can take the Limitless, but the Limitless has just only that blue body. You cannot have all the rest in roller. You have to take one car and the other body and all the stuff to fix and mount the body, and in the end the costs are too high for what it is. So I know you're gonna tell me you even not drive it. How can you tell that? Because I know this brand. I have back in the time the GTS, GTB, the VT. I make myself a VTe-2 and I exactly know what I have here. I know this is a real race car. And the price is really at a cool base here in Europe. I don't know how it is in America. If you, someone from you had it already, just tell us what did you think about it. What did it cost in America? What do you gonna do with the car? Race, speed runs, or something else? I don't know. You can take one of that, put 2 buggy shock towers, 4 buggy shocks, lift the car like a buggy, and put the Arma infraction body on it to make a real nice off-road pickup with Jetco tires made in USA. Make some Jetco Tomahawk or rock forms on it and high ground clearance. That's gonna be bad. Bye guys, stay tuned for the rest. You're not gonna see too fast a run because I want to do different stuff. First of all, I'm gonna send the body to my pal who make reinforced body so they can mold it. Then the body go to my painter to make the paint job like he does here for my VS2 in old HOBAO Hyper 9 style. I love this. In between I'm gonna make some different tests with the setups, if it's okay or not, and only then when I get all back, because I also wanna give this HOBAO also make a carbon chassis option, but I still wanna give this car to my buddy Jerome because he can do for me a carbon chassis especially for me. Because I want to be so light as possible. What I see is a smaller chassis. Let that all away, cut that off. I'm gonna put the motor here, the ESC here, servo receiver, and where then I put the battery, dumbass. So I'm gonna put the motor here, let that here, and put the battery here in standard position from 1/8 scale GT, and the receiver and ESC maybe here on the top. I don't care about LCG or something. The weight is so small. If you put it really 2, 3 or 4 centimeters higher, for me, as I'm not a competition driver, I drive for joy, so I'm not gonna notice any difference for me if you put here 200 gram in the top or 200 gram bottom. But if I can really bring that car to a 4.5 mark in 6S or less, that would be really pleasant. But that's just what I have in mind. Maybe once I have drive it, I gonna put ADAS in with a bigger motor and let the car like it is. Have a nice evening, guys. Stop! No one moves there. I forget something, guys, really important. For all 40 and 42 millimeters motors, you only had 3 millimeter holes, and some motors has only 3. Most of the newer motors has 3 and 4 millimeter holes, but there are a few motors who have only 4 millimeter holes, like the TP Power. So you have here a problem. You can drill it up to 4 millimeter, but think at the size from the screw head to go in there, or you have to do something different. And also you cannot use 49 millimeter can motor. That's a little bit that's something I miss, because that's my favorite size for 1/7 kilo buggies or GTs or something. 2s has 4 millimeter, so even if you bore it up, you're not gonna be able to fit it in the car because of the diameter of the housing from the motor. It's maybe a little bit too big in diameter. Yeah, we are too high here. So if you want to do that, you have to bore it up to 4, or let someone do that plate for you in 4 millimeter holes. Then you have to lift center differential, so you need 4 spacers and 4 spacer front and rear here to put it again straight. So think on this. And the other optional mount is only for the big motors, so you have nothing who's done for that size. Because in that size you have the Spectrum 1260 kV motor, you have the HOBAO 1650, you have the Castle 2260 or 75 or 70, and 1650 in that size. And maybe after the test run I'm gonna go for the Castle Monster X with X8S with the 50-20 can motor. So I gonna let all stock here with the lightweight motor and ESC. I really like the Castle system and also the turbo system from Castle. But first I want to try it before I buy it. Because if it's not enough for me or not enough endurance, I gonna go for such size motor and gonna make a modification to put it in. I'm not gonna go for TP Power motor and so stuff, because I don't like the amp draw. This baby is a 210 kV motor, has a lot of torque and power, but needs 300 to 500 amps, and that means I need a big ESC, and I don't want to do that. I just want something drivable. So now can I go really? Have I really forget nothing else? Oh, so sorry guys, I forget something else. You have no more waterproof bearings. You have double Z bearing shields. Why did I done that? Because first of all, that sinks the price. It's cheaper than waterproof bearing with Teflon sealed, but also because the most of on-road driver put a little bit of tin oil at each bearing before going to drive to have the maximum performance. Not like we off-road drivers who just fill it up with thick grease and close the sealing again and laughing about, haha, water you never gonna in. So that's not a negative point, because most drivers don't drive when it's rainy. I drive. We have here tires in Europe made for drive in water condition. So really, when you have a rainy day, you have GRP R1, it's for rain one. You have GRP, PMT as R1, and I guess, I don't know if Seismic made it, GRP, PMT, SP Racing also do some rain tires. And it's, if you don't know how it works, it's easy. The rubber is not just soft, but when you put water on the rubber, it begins to be like a chewing gum. You really, if you never try it, you will be, it's amazing. I never believed it before I tried it. And I have a video with the VTe-2 on road, and really we have a rainy day, because that type of tire needs that it rains. If it's just wet on the road, they're gonna wear really fast. But if it's really rainy, while you're driving, you lose a little bit traction on a straight line. But curves driving is even better than at a dry road. That's absolutely crazy. Now I go. Bye guys.